you know, coast to coast, the undecided independent voters, they've been the part of the electoral population everybody's been keeping an eye on, and if you believe the polls, they've been breaking against incumbents more often than not, Democrats, time after time. Now, one voting bloc that went solidly for Democrats in Obama just 2 years ago were women. This time around, however, the demographic not as committed. Now, for more of that, I want to welcome Sam Bennett. Sam is the president of the Women's Campaign Forum. She's kind enough to join us. Sam, thanks for a few minutes.
My pleasure.
What's happened the last couple of years? Because you've seen the same polling data that I have. In fact, just in the last 2 weeks of this, there was an 11-point shift in one poll in terms of how women were breaking, going more Republican than Democrat prior. Why the big hard shift? The same reasons as for men, the economy and jobs?
Well, clearly the economy and jobs are underneath everything this election cycle. But bottom line, I think we're also seeing a phenomenon where Republican women are finally sort of coming into their own. Sarah Palin, maybe she's the reason. And we have, of course, the year of the GOP women. We have record numbers of GOP women actually running for office this year. If we look at U.S. Congress, right, it's 17% women, but 14% of those are Democrat, 3% are Republican. So we've had the Republican women, at least on a federal level, pretty underrepresented, and you see that effect on state and local levels also. So in truth, Republican women have something to vote for now, if that appeals to them, Republican women, and I think it's showing in terms of their voting preferences.
But you know, Sam, if you dig a little deeper, other than division of woman candidates stand in front of a microphone, especially for Republicans, their policies versus just the persona. I mean, think about it. One of the first things that Obama passed, right, the Lilly Ledbetter Act for equal pay for women.
That's right.
Yet you look at some of these platforms, Sharon Engel says in Nevada, hey, if a woman's raped here, make lemons out of lemonade was her quote, and that she should be forced to take the child to term. All of these Republican candidates, without exception, they want to repeal Roe v. Wade. Right. I can keep going on. You get the drift here.
Absolutely.
Do women just say, well, this person's wearing a skirt instead of a suit, now I'm going to be more likely to vote for her?
No, I think what's going, first of all, the Sharon Engels, the Michelle Bachmans, the Christine O'Donnells of the world, they're really the reflection of how far right the Republican Party has gone. You know, in New York, New Jersey, you always had a strong tradition of moderate Republicans, but nationwide, the Republican Party has really shifted very far right. And so the only women that can get elected in the Republican Party, quite frankly, are women that are very, very right of center. You've seen this over and over again, particularly in, for example, Didi Scosafava's race in upstate New York earlier this year, where moderate Republican women can't get out of their primaries. And what's going on there is, for example, in Didi's race, Club for Growth, very right-wing, came in, dumped a ton of money on her head, and nobody can withstand a full-scale frontal assault like that. And so ultimately, she endorsed the Democrat, and the Democrat won. So you are right. There is that phenomenon going on. But I think what we're seeing is the presence of Republican women is energizing Republican women at unprecedented levels. Now, if we look at the traditional voting patterns of the Democratic Party, that's been largely women, right? That's been the majority voting bloc for the Democratic Party. What's happening now are Republican women are kind of stepping up to the plate now at levels that they haven't done in the past. That doesn't mean that they're all going to be voting for Sharon Engel, Michelle Bachmann, or Christine O'Donnell, but also Republican voters traditionally tend to be ticket voters, straight down the ticket, a little bit more so than Democratic voters. And I think that perfect storm is what we're seeing this election cycle.
We're also seeing, when it came to female candidates, a lot of women who came from the professional ranks from the corporate world. In Connecticut, obviously, you see Linda McMahon. You go to California, you see Fiorina, and you also see, obviously, Meg Whitman, Senate and governor, respectively. We haven't really seen that before as much, have we?
No, we haven't. In fact, there's a really just a little framing here. The United States is ranked 90th in the world in the number of women in elected office. Believe it or not, Cuba and Afghanistan are ranked higher than we are in global standing in the number of women in elected office. And in America, research shows that women just aren't asked to run, particularly by their party structures. So in a way, a woman that can open up a checkbook like a Meg Whitman, like a Carly Fiorina, those women are going to be able to muscle their way in even when they aren't asked or endorsed. Look at Christine O'Donnell's race in former Vice President, not former, but Vice President Joe Biden's seat. Karl Rove purportedly tried to actively talk her out of running because his concern was if she indeed beat Mike Castle, the moderate Republican there, that they'd lose the seat. Well, that's what happened. Well, Christine O'Donnell ran in spite of Karl Rove. So what you have is a pattern of party activists on both sides of the aisle not asking women to run. So a woman that owns a checkbook and can get people to either put her own money in or get folks to support her has a leg up on most other women.
Finally, you know, I look and who knows what's going to happen. We're going to let the election play out, obviously, tonight. But when you look at some of the policies that have come out from both some of the candidates from the House and Senate on the Republican side, and also some of the platforms that they're talking about, forget about even just repealing Roe v. Wade and, you know, where that would go. There's a lot of different instances, reducing maternity leave. I've heard a lot of stuff here. Do you think there's going to be a buyer beware aspect where people can say, wait a minute, I didn't realize. I was angry about the economy. I wanted to send a message, but I wasn't sending that message here. I mean, I saw the guy in Colorado, the Republican who might win tonight, saying, hey, it's time we don't you elect somebody with cowboy boots, not with high heels. And a lot of people said that wasn't just an isolated comment.
No,
that
it's not.
Send the big boys back to do the big man's job.
No.
Is there a chance here that after this election some people say, wait a minute, where did this come from?
Absolutely. And in fact, I have to really tip my hat to you. What you've just said is something that we have been saying, national leaders of groups like mine have been saying for a while, that unfortunately both the Republican and the Democratic Party, in an effort to gain power, have been choosing issues that are traditionally important to women and children to throw under the bus. And you've mentioned, quite frankly, all of them.
All right.
I think, and if I could,
sure.
I think the misogyny that we've seen in this media cycle is unprecedented. When I ran for U.S. Congress in 2008, the media misogyny that I experienced was rather breathtaking, and that led us to found an effort called nameitchangeit.org, and everything from Meg Whitman being called a whore by a Jerry Brown aide, to Christine O'Donnell being referred to by Jay Leno in an oral sex joke, to Crystal Ball, what she experienced, the young woman running for Congress in Virginia, was absolutely unprecedented. So you are right. There's a lot of sexism being used against women to help undermine them. Our research shows that even mild sexism against a woman, like focus on her hair or makeup, such as Hillary Clinton experienced in her presidential bid, severely undermines her ability to gain votes. So you're absolutely right. I tip my hat off to you. You've hit the nail on the head.
Oh, well, we'll see how it plays out tonight. Sam Bennett, thank you so much for a few minutes. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.